Donald Trump's niece, Mary Trump, wrote a tell-all memoir about her family in the summer of 2020. And now, post-election, she has even more to say about her uncle. Her book, Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man, sold over 1.35 million copies in the first week of publication. And she plans on writing another one soon, focusing on America's healing after her uncle's presidency. Mary believes that the president will leave the country reeling, and not just for what he did throughout his 4-year presidency, but for his actions in the wake of the 2020 election. President Trump has stuck to the narrative that he beat President-elect Joe Biden and has thus far refused to concede as of the making of this video. So what is Trump's game plan?
He's going to put considerable energy, at least as long as he's able to, into delegitimizing Joe Biden's win and his administration.
In early December 2020, Mary Trump told the women of The View that she thinks her uncle refuses to accept the reality of the situation. She said that she thinks he is, quote, somebody who knows that his best option is to cling to power no matter who gets hurt in the process. Mary, who grew up seeing Donald regularly, thinks that he just doesn't know how to process the loss. She said, on the one hand, it is impossible for Donald to believe that he lost. You know, he's lost before in his life, but he's never had to be in a situation in which he can't somehow turn that loss into a win, either through cheating or buying his way out of a jam or using somebody else's connections and power. Mary, the daughter of Donald's older brother, the late Fred Trump Jr., added that losing is a big deal in the Trump family, saying, there's literally nothing he can do about this, so it's sort of unfathomable, because in my family, losing was literally the worst thing you could do. So it's putting enormous amounts of pressure on him. So on the one hand, he can't admit it to himself because that would suggest that there's no way for him to get out of this mess. Mary has obviously been closely watching her uncle as he processes the results of the 2020 election. She told The View, he's making himself look like a sore loser. He's behaving like an immature bully. It is going to increase his irrelevance after the inauguration, and I think it increases the urgency for holding him accountable when he no longer has the protection of the Oval Office.
I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
Trump has in fact refused to outright concede the election to President-elect Joe Biden, though he recently allowed the General Services Administration to initiate the transfer of power according to protocol. His legal team, spearheaded by Rudy Giuliani, continues to allege that there was voter fraud despite a glaring lack of evidence.
He's doing serious damage to our democracy, to people's faith in the American electoral process.
The Electoral College votes on December 14, 2020, however, and Trump said that he would in fact concede if they also declared Biden the winner. Still, Mary, a clinical psychologist, has her doubts about her uncle. She attempted to diagnose the president on The View, claiming he has serious psychological disorders, which wouldn't have been of any interest to us if he had no power and if he didn't have the ability to inflict pain on other people. The biggest problem for us now is because of those undiagnosed and untreated disorders and his appalling lack of empathy, people are dying unnecessarily every day. Children were stripped from their parents and incarcerated for no reason. Despite Mary's credentials, there is no evidence or confirmation that President Trump has any current mental health disorders. It seems like President Trump and his team are at least starting the process of listening to the experts, helping the incoming administration, and doing what's best for the country, at least based on his statement about transferring power to President-elect Biden. But if what Mary has said about Trump's dedication to delegitimizing the president-elect and continuing to stoke division is true, it's going to be a long road ahead. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Nicki Swift videos about the latest hot topics are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.